Welcome to the Fever Code. I think you'll figure out why it's called the Fever Code by the end of this video. Welcome to the review. Now, James Dashner has finally published his 5th book. Well, I can't really say finally because it's been 5-6 years since this book has been published. Like, it was published in 2018. Right now I'm recording 2024. Okay, back to the book. The Fever Code itself is, if you watch the summary, a book about how the maze is built. In fact, it's literally on the cover right here. And if you actually look at the blurb at the back, you'll probably be hooked up right away. Why you should read this? Well, if you're interested in the first 3 books and the first prequel of The Maze Runner, then you'll probably be interested in how you would literally build a maze, if you are a child prodigy, that is. And there aren't many child prodigies out there. I mean, look at Thomas, Teresa. Sure, they're child prodigies, but they literally created a maze when they were like 10, 12, 13. I have no idea. But they have literally entered a maze when they were 16, so it must have been like, let me think. So they spent at least 2 years watching them, so they finished it and when they were 14 years old. And we do some more math. They started building it 2 years ago. Say they started building this darn thing when they were 11 or 12 years old. When they weren't even teenagers yet. You know how much brilliance of an IQ should need to do that? Also, to top that all up, you are immune to the flares. Okay. Now, let's just assume you're Thomas. You're Thomas something. No one, they don't even know their last names. They aren't even told their last names, too. Well, these forests are burned, the lakes and the rivers dried up, and the ocean swelled, and then came a plague and fever and spread literally across the world. Families died, violence reigned, and man literally killed man. Man kills man, brother kills brother, boy kills father, father kills son. And then came Wicked, and they were looking for an answer, and then they found the perfect boy. And the boy's name was Thomas, and Thomas built a maze. Now there are secrets, and then there are lies. Thomas only intended the maze to be a puzzle for them to look at, figure out, try to figure out how they should get out of this place. But then Wicked betrayed him. They started putting in a bunch of other things that Teresa and Thomas did not intend to be in there. They were 10 to 11 years old. How would they know to put monsters inside this darn maze? And they never intended for a variation of the flare to be the injection poison of those grievers too. It must sting a lot, though, because the thing is, that thing hurts. It's a modified flare virus, and really, it's kind of sus that these people are just trying to, by these people, I mean Wicked, are just trying to go ahead and find a blueprint without, like, trying something else. Then again, if you look at the flare, it's kind of like rabies. It attacks the brain, the human brain, and no other species of animals really needs to care about it because, unlike rabies, they're not affected by it either. The maze itself was supposed to be a puzzle. I mean, if you think about it when you're like me, then those young days in the past when were given a sheet of paper which were map, like with a maze on it, and you're supposed to like draw a line into the middle of the maze, or from the middle to the out of the maze, or from one side to the other, whatever kind of maze you made, or played, or just created, which is kind of the same thing as made, then you probably know what I'm literally talking about. The Fever Code here is actually a bunch of betrayal. In fact, betrayal is one of the main themes of the Fever Code, too. I mean, why would you call it the Fever Code? Other than the fact that the only reason why this code has been presented is because a fever has ravaged throughout the entire world. And by fever, I mean the flare. Now, back to the topic. Betrayal. Betrayal has been happening throughout the whole series of Maze Runner, to be honest. It has happened in the Maze Runner, the first book, that is, not the whole series. Although, it didn't really happen that much. We didn't find out about betrayal until the next book. When the Scorch happened, when the Scorch book happened. And then we actually found a bunch of betrayal, where technically the rescuers were killed. And to be honest, we kind of think that they are in league with the Wicked people. And if they are, then they're basically very, very good at their job because they seem to be protecting them, like the rescuers seem to be protecting them very well, or it's just that they were faking it. They were really trying to save them, but then they were ambushed by Wicked, and that seems more plausible to me. But once you think about the evidence that their bodies disappeared, like the night after they were found, That is actually kind of suggesting that these people are wicked people too. And then this phase 2 started, and everyone started betraying each other. Teresa technically betrayed Thomas, and Thomas technically betrayed Teresa, but Teresa actually did way more time. So I guess she just goes ahead and owes Thomas more. Then again, other betrayals happen in the books too. In the prequel, very first prequel, The Kill Order, there's a bunch of betrayal from the governments of the world to the human race. In fact, once they shot those darts, I should say, to humans, they started raining a reign of terror. And once they couldn't control, they realized that this demon was not on his leash anymore. He was just creating an illusion of one too. He was also creating an illusion of a sleeping wizard, which is not a pleasant thing to do, I'm guessing. But last but not least, we're going to talk about humans, the ethical, the unethical concerns, everything that actually happens here. Humans are the most important creatures, I should say, on this planet. Without humans, everything would technically go ahead and wither, and nobody would live here, except probably the emus. But humans themselves still have lives. Animals themselves still have lives. And the thing about these animals is that when they're beheaded pretty quick, that they notice nothing. And if they are done pretty quickly, then they just give themselves a chance of living. And I really don't want to cut things off of my head, because I would rather go for magic and go ahead and rely on some old superstition. One more thing about ethical concerns I'm going to have to make a remark about is how this is literally draining our resources. In fact, these ethical concerns are the only thing that seem to matter to us now, because Wicked is going ahead and starting killing people. And they say if it takes 5 dead kids to go ahead and create a cure, then it is worth it. And to be honest, they'll realize soon enough that the trials will be over. And let's just say it's been 2 years, you're in the bus with Alab or Albie, you have no idea what his name is, those kind of things. What would you do if your memory was lost and all you know is how to do things and not who taught you to do those things? So I really hope you guys actually enjoyed this episode. Please give me your ideas and thoughts and recommendations to why you should read this book in the comments below. You should read this book because you'll probably be interested and hooked by how the story of the maze was built. So I hope to see you guys soon. Until next time, shut out, peace, and until then, please, 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 wear a helmet. Bye!